Long before the world knew the face of the unstoppable machine, there was just a man with an impossible dream. He didn't grow up in Hollywood. He didn't grow up surrounded by movie stars or cameras. Instead, his story began in a small town far away from the bright lights of fame. As a young man, he discovered something that would change his life forever: discipline. While most people slept late or wasted time, he spent hours inside small gyms filled with rusty weights and old equipment. Day after day, he trained his body harder than anyone around him. The sound of metal plates hitting the floor echoed through the empty gym. Sweat covered his face, and every muscle burned. But pain didn't stop him. In fact, pain became part of the process. He believed something most people didn't understand: that greatness is built through thousands of small moments of effort that nobody sees. Slowly, his body began to change. His strength became almost unbelievable. People started noticing the young athlete whose determination seemed unstoppable. Competitions followed. Crowds watched as he stepped onto stages under bright lights, showing the results of years of relentless discipline. Victory after victory began to appear, but something inside him kept pushing for more. Winning competitions wasn't enough. He wanted something bigger, something that seemed almost impossible: Hollywood. The idea sounded crazy to many people. He had a strong accent, his name was difficult to pronounce, and his body looked nothing like the typical movie star of that time. Many casting directors told him the same thing: "You will never succeed in acting." Some said he was too large. Others said audiences would never take him seriously. But rejection did not stop him. Instead, it fueled his determination. He continued working, training, and learning. Then, one day, something unexpected happened. He met a young filmmaker who was working on a dark science fiction story. The story was about a machine sent from the future, a machine that looked human but had no emotion, no fear, no mercy. During their conversation, the actor began explaining how such a machine should move, not like a normal person, but slowly, precisely, every movement controlled, every step calculated. He stood up and demonstrated the motion. His posture became stiff and mechanical. His eyes lost all emotion. For a moment, the room became completely silent. The filmmaker realized something extraordinary. The man standing in front of him didn't just look powerful. He looked like a machine. And in that instant, a cinematic legend was born. The role that many actors might have struggled to perform suddenly seemed perfect for him. The character required almost no emotion, only presence. Cold, unstoppable presence. When filming finally began, he focused on every detail. He studied how machines might behave. He practiced moving without unnecessary gestures. Even blinking too often could make the character look human, so he trained himself to move differently. More precise, more mechanical, more controlled. Every scene became a test of discipline. Every movement was designed to make the audience believe they were watching something unstoppable, something not quite human. When the movie finally premiered, nobody expected what would happen next. Audiences were shocked. The character felt real, terrifying, unstoppable, and suddenly the world had a new cinematic icon, a machine that walked slowly through danger, never afraid, never stopping. One simple phrase from the film echoed across theaters around the world: "I'll be back." It became one of the most famous lines in movie history. The film quickly transformed from a simple science fiction story into a cultural phenomenon, and the actor who once struggled to be accepted in Hollywood suddenly became one of the most recognizable faces on the planet, from a small gym to a global legend. But perhaps the most powerful part of the story is this: the machine that audiences saw on screen wasn't just created by special effects. It was created through years of discipline, years of believing in a dream when nobody else believed in it. Every early morning workout, Every rejection, every moment of doubt, all of it built the character that would become unforgettable. Because sometimes the most powerful transformations in the world don't happen in science fiction, they happen in real life. And sometimes a man with an impossible dream can become something legendary. But the story didn't end when the movie was released. In fact, that was only the beginning. The character on screen had something unique. Unlike most villains in movies, this one barely spoke. He didn't show emotion. He didn't explain his plans. He simply appeared and moved forward, slowly, relentlessly. And that simplicity made the character even more terrifying. Audiences realized something unusual. This wasn't just another action movie villain. This was something different, something that felt almost real. The machine didn't shout. It didn't threaten. It simply walked forward with absolute certainty. And no matter what stood in its way, it kept coming. Car chases, explosions, gunfire, none of it stopped the machine. That unstoppable presence became the heart of the entire film. People began leaving the theater talking about one thing: the machine, the cold stare, the slow walk, the mechanical precision. Suddenly, the character was everywhere. Movie posters, magazines, television interviews. Fans began imitating the walk, the expression. Even the famous line from the movie became part of everyday culture. People repeated it again and again: "I'll be back." What started as a small moment in the script turned into one of the most recognizable phrases in movie history. Soon, the film grew beyond expectations. It wasn't just successful, it became legendary. The character that was once just an idea on paper became a symbol of unstoppable power, and the actor behind that character became known across the entire world. But what many people didn't see behind the scenes was the work required to create that illusion. To appear like a machine, he had to control every movement. Normal people move naturally. They shift their weight, they blink often, they show small emotions without realizing it. But machines don't do that. So every scene required careful control, slow breathing, minimal blinking, precise steps. Every movement had to feel calculated. Every look had to feel empty. That discipline created something unforgettable. The audience wasn't just watching a performance. They believed they were watching a machine, and that belief turned the film into something much bigger than anyone expected. Over time, the character became one of the most iconic figures in science fiction. The dark glasses, the leather jacket, the silent walk forward. Even decades later, people instantly recognize the image. But perhaps the most fascinating part of the story is this: the character represented something deeper. It represented the fear of technology becoming unstoppable, a future where machines might grow more powerful than the humans who created them. That idea made the story feel powerful because the machine wasn't evil in the traditional sense. It was simply following its programming: cold, precise, unstoppable, and that made it even more frightening. The success of the film proved something important about storytelling. Sometimes the most powerful characters are the simplest ones: a silent figure walking slowly through chaos, never stopping, never hesitating. That image became burned into the memory of millions of viewers. Years later, the character would return again and again in new stories, new films, new battles. But the original moment, the first appearance, remained unforgettable. A machine emerging from the shadows, eyes scanning the world, searching for its target, step by step moving forward. And every time the character appeared on screen, audiences knew exactly what was coming: something unstoppable,
something relentless, something legendary. Because sometimes a single role, a single performance can create a character that lives forever in cinema history. And that is exactly what happened with the machine known as the Terminator.